Hey everyone, this short video is going to show you how to design interactive graphic novels using something you already know, Google Slides. So when you present your Google slide, it's going to turn this into a comic book or a graphic novel that has some animation and that you can control how the reader views your comic. Using some very simple things like shapes, pictures, and captions, you can create this in a matter of minutes. Let's start right from scratch where we go into your Google Drive and you're simply going to make a new Google slide. Now, because we're creating everything from scratch, we're going to keep this to a simple light theme, so no need to change themes. And I'm always going to go up to the top where I can choose my layout and I'm going to choose blank. So right from scratch. So when you start this off, you have to decide what is it you're going to put on here first. So some comics are made in cells, while others just have landscape. So if we want to do a cell, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the shape tool up here, grab a shape, and you choose whatever you want. I'm just going to go with the standard rectangle. When I click it, I get this crosshair, and I'm simply just going to click and hold my mouse down, and I'm going to drag it. Let's just do a half cell. How about that? So there we go. It's an ugly gray, so you can change that no problem. Let's go up to the paint bucket now. This is your fill color. And you can change it to whatever you want. There's a gradient fill, which is kind of cool. So let's make this one red. So you just kind of build your cells. So let's do that one more time. I'll grab another shape. And I'm just going to do a half one this time. So I can use a quarter of my page and just kind of draw it like that. And of course, you can choose the background again with your fill color. So let's make this one gradient again, but this time we'll go like a bluish color. So you can do that. The other option is maybe you're building your comic on a actual picture, like a landscape or something. So that's pretty simple too. You're just going to go open up another tab by clicking the plus button. Here I can have some already, so I have kind of a space theme going on. So I'm just going to click on that picture. Now here's the cool thing. You can usually do a copy and paste here. You can save it, but I can actually click and hold my mouse, drag up to my presentation, and just let it go. Then all I have to do is resize it to fit wherever I want. Now, because you're designing a comic, notice that it looks kind of fuzzy. I'm not a big fan of that picture. So I'm going to be really critical about this. And I can go up to the top. I'm going to go to Tools up here on my image search. And I just want to choose something large. Just usually means it's better resolution. It looks a little bit more clear. Well, there's a cool picture. Let's grab this guy here. Yeah, much clearer. So again, I'll show you the other method. I'm just simply going to do a copy image. Go to my presentation and I'm going to do a right click and paste. You can do Control C or Control V, totally up to you. There it is. And then you just kind of resize it, put it wherever you want. For this purpose, I'll just put it right in the corner here. And notice I can even overlap. It's not a big deal, but you kind of make it however you want to make it. You can stretch it out, totally up to you. All right, so there's kind of like my setup for what I'm doing so far. Next, I'm going to add the narration. So the narration is really important because it's the author telling you kind of the background parts of the story. To get that, we typically grab a text box. So it's this little T box here. I'm going to click on it. I get the little crosshairs again, and I'm going to hold my mouse and drag it again, and then start typing. And this is the hardest part, what's your comic going to be about? So we can say this is space, but notice you can't see it very well. So a technique that illustrators use is they use a background color to make this pop out. So what I can do is go up to that paint bucket again while I'm in this text box, and I'm going to change it to something pop. So let's go a bright yellow. So now it's kind of getting very comic book-like when you see this. You can adjust the text box. So if you only have so much writing, you can change it up any way you want. So that's kind of the narration, and this narration kind of deals with this cell right here. Next phase is going to be adding actual pictures of things that our comic is going to be about. So even though in the slideshow I provide you a whole bunch of alien type stuff, let's go in and keep with our space theme. And I'm going to go grab a spaceship. Now, one super important thing is when you go in, you're going to notice a lot of these are with backgrounds, things like that. So one way to avoid spaceships with backgrounds is you can type in the letters PNG. PNG just looks for spaceships that have clear backgrounds. So sometimes you luck out, sometimes you don't because it is the internet. Let's go with this guy. That looks pretty cool. So what I'm looking for is that checkered background after I click on it. See, this one has a checker background, but that means someone took a screenshot with the checkers in it, and it's going to turn in like that too. So let's do that click and drag technique that we did before. You can copy and paste it. Sometimes it brings in the checker background, so that's why I like to use the drag technique. And there it is. You can resize it. If I didn't do the PNG and just kind of did a spaceship without that, there's a good chance I'm going to get this whole background that I don't want. So even though this looks pretty cool, when I move it over, notice I have that background. I'm not a big fan of that. So that's why I always try and look up PNGs and try and find what we want. Now, a little tip and technique that we have that's in the slideshow, this is a little bit more advanced, is there are some background removers out there that we can use. So let's say I really did want this one. And what I would have to do is I'd have to go in, do a right click and save this image. So you're just going to save it to your computer. And then there's a program called remove.bg. When I go here, what it wants you to do is you can upload your image. You have to find it and choose it. And it will automatically remove a background. So when you have a plain background, it's super easy. It's almost guaranteed it's going to work every time. Then I just have to download it to my computer and save it. Go back to my presentation, and you probably know what to do already. We go to Insert. We go grab our image and upload it from our computer. So you can see it's got the remove BG there. Hit open. Awesome. So that's just an advanced technique, but if you look up PNGs, that's a great way to do that too. I've got a spaceship in here. Awesome. Now, just for this one, because I want to look really, really cool, I might just use this whole space background just like that. How cool does that look? So now I'm really making an interactive graphic novel here. So I have this spaceship here. Let's go grab a quick little alien guy to go with it. I'm going to just do a quick PNG. So there we go. There's our weird alien. So we'll get this guy coming in. Good, there's a checker background. I'm going to click and drag them in. All right, there we go. And of course, you know how to resize, I'm sure. Let's put them over there. Perfect. Okay, so next step is to add some speech to these guys. So I'm going to go into my shape tool again. And speech bubbles, this is where there's dialogue for your characters, are right at the bottom under callouts. And I'm just going to drag it. And there's a bubble there. I can change the color. I prefer white. And the cool thing is, you'll notice the speech bubble tail. You can click and drag it right over so you know exactly who's talking. When I want to write something, all I have to do is just do a double click on it. You can still change your fonts, all that good stuff. And you can write whatever you want in there. So obviously that's a little small. I can jack up the size. You can center justify it, all that good stuff, and even make it smaller depending on what you want. All right, so there we kind of have our scene set. There's the speech bubble. Now here's the thing. This is what's going to make this interactive. The interactivity comes from transitions, but when you click on things, they actually become animations. So I'm going to set the scene where it's a blank scene. I'm going to have this guy walk in. Shout out Space Taxi, and then I'm going to have this fly in. So I'm going to click on the alien first, and I'm going to go up top here where it says Animate. You can also do a right click because the Animate button is in there as well, but make sure you clicked on the one you want to move first. So with your animations, you can see there it is. Right now, it's just a fade in. So if I click on this, I have all these choices. So you can have them fly in from the left. Let's do that. You can change the speed, and you can also change how it comes in. So if you click the mouse, it will come in. But if you do after previous, that means whatever happens first, it will go in after. Or you can have things come in together. I'm going to leave it just like that on click. Now, the biggest thing is, let's play it and just see what it looks like. The cool thing when you add an animation, it disappears until you call it. So let's click our mouse. And there you can see him come in. All right, so let's stop that and let's add some more. And then if you find you don't like the animation, you can always switch it. So you know what, let's have him fly in from the left instead. All right, so next up, I'm going to have him shout out Space Taxi. So I'm going to add animation again. I'm going to have this one just fade in, but instead of click, I'm going to have it happen after previous. So the alien should come in first, and then after previous. And let's do the spaceship. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because it is a spaceship after all. And one thing I like to make them kind of look like it's flying in, I use something called the zoom in. So for that one, I'm going to do after previous as well, and I'm going to have it come in a little slower. The reason why I did after previous and all those things is because I want this to happen automatically. So let's go into how we're going to actually look at this. Let's hit present. All right, we hit present, we're set up. There's my narration. I'm going to click the mouse once and it should start my entire program. And there you go. That's how we make an interactive graphic novel. Don't forget, you can add as many pages as you want by hitting the plus sign. So you can continue making pages, go back to your layout, choose the blank. So make lots of pages. And another nice little technique, a little trick too, is notice sometimes how things are on top of each other. Whenever you do right clicks on objects, you always get this little menu where you can go into these ones here. You might want to choose ordering, so you move things back and forth and layer things. You can rotate things. So if I clicked on my alien guy right now, and let's say I wanted to bring him to the front, you can see how the speech bubble goes underneath his hand. So you can change things up however you want. Have a great time creating your own graphic novels.